Hi everyone. So I was just thinking about this yesterday, and what's really for you is for you. I was thinking about many of you may know that I went to school in the States. I did college in the States. So before I came back home, which I was reluctant to come back home because I wanted to stay in the States. I didn't feel like I had any business coming back home. I was believing God for my permanent residency in the United States. I was believing that the company that I worked for, would sponsor me and all of this. And that didn't happen. It didn't work out that way. And I wasn't in a serious relationship at the time for me to say, okay, well, let's just go ahead and get married, for me to legalize my status. And I don't believe in doing that. But that's a totally different story. But anyway, so I had to come back home. So I was living on my own at this time. I had my own apartment, and so my lease was about to end. So I had to pack up my apartment, sell what I could sell, and move in with some friends, because I think there was like a 3-week period between my lease ending and my flight to come back home. So I moved in with some friends and was staying with them for a while, and then it was time for me to come back home. But before I came back, I went to visit another friend of mine, who our mutual friend had a visitor from another state, and he told her that he saw one of her friends in a dream and had a word from the Lord for her. And so I was like, okay. And I was just hearing this because at the time I was very, very afraid of the prophetic. I didn't understand it. I thought that, when you get a prophetic word, that the people can see into your life and call out all of your mistakes and call out all of your, sin and the issues that you're dealing with. I thought that's what prophecy was about. And so I was very, very afraid that he would see something in me, or whoever the prophet was, because it wasn't just this one person. I was just very afraid of the prophetic as a whole. So I was like, okay, I heard this information, but I wasn't moved to say, okay, I want to find out if this person is me. But then our mutual friend who I had gone to visit was like, Yori, go ahead and see if you're the person. I was like, I don't think I want to go. She's like, she really encouraged me to go. So I said, okay. And prior to me going, another one of our friends had gone there to see if she was the person, and the guy was like, nope, that's not the person I saw in my dream. And so I said, okay. And so my heart is beating fast, and I'm very intimidated because, like I said, I was afraid. And I went, and as I walked through the door, I think they were in Bible study or something like that. So he was in his Bible talking to my friend's mom. And when I walked through the door, he looked up at me and he said, that's the person that I saw in my dream. So of course now my heart is beating overtime, and I'm just like, my palms are sweating. I start to feel very nervous and stuff, because I'm like, how you see my face in a dream? And this was before Facebook, it was before social media, so it's not like you could have said you saw my face on social media, and then you just happen to have a dream about this person. My face was not out there like that for him to have seen my face. So I knew that God showed a perfect stranger my face in a dream. And he gave me a prophetic word, and I've seen that word come to pass time and time again. And of course he taught me. He was the one who showed me, or taught me, what the prophetic was really about, to exhort and to encourage and to edify. And he helped me to quell those fears that I had regarding prophecy. And he, like I said, he spoke this word into my life, and I have seen that word come to pass over and over again in different ways. And I'm saying that to say, because I remember I had said to you, another one of our friends had gone to see if she was the person that he had this word for, and it wasn't her, and he would not disobey the Lord by giving this person the word that didn't belong to her. And I'm saying that to say, when God has something for you, it's yours, and nobody else can take it. So you don't have to worry, and you don't have to fret, because what's for you is yours. And I know that we can think of, like, when I said that to you, I'm thinking of the story of Jacob and Esau, and how um, how Jacob swindled his way to get Esau's blessing. But I think at the end of the day, that blessing really belonged to Jacob. Some way, somehow, God, because God is sovereign, God knew that this is what would happen. And so the word that came to pass concerning Jacob, even though the word really should have been for Esau, because he was the firstborn, and Jacob swindled, Jacob and his mom swindled their way to get this word, to get this blessing. Um, Ultimately, it worked out how it should have. And so I'm saying that to say, nobody can take what God has said about you and run with it. That thing is for you. We were made on purpose, for purpose, and nobody can fulfill your purpose but you. So I want you to get really serious about the things that God has said to you, the things that God is confirming to you in this season, because it's not for anybody else to do those things. It's for you to do those things, and nobody can take your word. That other person couldn't get the word that was for me, that God had given him specifically for Yori Garrick. Nobody could have taken it. The other person couldn't have taken it. My other friends who came subsequent to me couldn't have taken that particular word, because that word was directly for me, for my life. And so I'm encouraging you to hold on to what God is saying and understand that he cares. He loves you with an everlasting love. And the fact that, it always brings me back to humility. It always brings me back to remembering the love of my father, that he would have given somebody. He knew how fearful I was of the prophetic, but he would have given somebody, a total stranger in a total different state from where I was, a word for me, showed him my face in a dream, to make him come to Texas to deliver that particular word for me. And the timing was such that it would have been the word that I needed to get before I came back home. So it set my path a particular way. God loves us. He's committed to us. He cares about us. And it just gives me pause to thank him, because he didn't have to love me. He didn't have to choose me. And yet he did. And he chose you too. So be encouraged. He loves you. And he's working out his plan for your life. And he'll move heaven and earth to ensure that that thing comes to pass. To make sure that you get the message. And once you get it, to ensure that you run with it. Be encouraged. And have a great day. Bye.